So yesterday we talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They, just before our segment here, released the nominees for the 2019 induction. They here's who we can possibly put in there, and it was a good list. It was an interesting list. If you missed it, it was Radiohead, Rage Against the Machine, Janet Jackson, Roxy Music, Stevie Nicks, The Cure, Def Leppard, Todd Rundgren, Rufus and Chaka Khan, LL Cool J, The Zombies, Devo, John Prine, MC5, and Kraftwerk. And they're all deserving, except for Def Leppard. All deserving. I would never say an artist is not deserving to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but really Def Leppard's not. But the point is this. A lot of people are upset, as typically they become. And we thought we'd put together a list of those artists that are not in the Hall and are nowhere near this sort of conversation of who's being considered. Of that list, what I thought was particularly interesting was the artist that got left off the first year of eligibility. And I knew the Dave Matthews Band fans were going to be upset. They are really pissed. They are really, really angry about being left off. And I'm a fan. And I was like, yeah, that's kind of messed up. But the more I kind of let it marinate yesterday, I was like, that is really messed up. That is really messed up because Radiohead got a lot of consideration in their first year, and there was a lot of buzz around Radiohead, and they got next to no votes. I mean, I forget what it was because they don't really release the counts or whatever, but we did get to see the popular vote. They got nothing. Now they went ahead and told their fans not to vote because they're cool. They're Radiohead, and I like Radiohead. I'm just. It is what it is. That's the Radiohead thing to do. But I don't know. Is Radiohead and Rage Against the Machine, who are vitally important to rock music in the 90s, and sort of carrying that torch through, especially in a post-Nirvana world, more important than what the Dave Matthews Band has done? It just seemed odd to me. Here's two other ones that significantly, I'm shocked, are left off of the first-time nominee list. Beck, who, from two turntables and the microphone to the latest morning, the acoustic, amazing. And Jeff Buckley. And what's interesting about Buckley to me is his stock, his popularity has just grown and grown and grown since his passing. And every year that goes by, I feel like he just becomes more and more popular. You would have thought he would have been a slam dunk for nomination. I'm not talking about getting in. I'm talking about nomination in the first year. He's ignored. Buckley, Beck, and really for me, the Dave Matthews Band, a little bit a step above those two, not in consideration. I wonder if the Dave Matthews Band not being nominated is the biggest snub the Rock Hall has seen, which is a pretty bold statement considering that there's a lot of snubs. There's a lot of snubs in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame conversation. The Roots, Outkast, and Snoop Dogg also eligible for first-time nominations, and they were also completely ignored. Now, I think Outkast is important. I think the Roots are very, very important, especially now that they've taken over the Tonight Show. They've culturally grown exponentially. But Snoop Dogg, I mean, Snoop, and don't give me it's the rock and roll, it's Music Hall of Fame. By rock and roll, they mean music. So I can't have the same argument with people. It's not rap. It's music. It's all music. Music Hall of Fame doesn't sound as fun as Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's exactly what it is. Snoop Dogg deserves to be nominated. That's ridiculous. For what that guy has contributed to society. I mean, he's done everything from break hip-hop records to hosting a baking show with Martha Stewart. And this guy is not in the conversation? Come on. Come on. Def Leppard over Snoop Dogg and Dave Matthews Band? That's disgusting. I'm sorry, but that's disgusting. Here's all the other artists that weren't included and are can qualify, can be nominated into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I'll do it in alphabetical order. A Tribe Called Quest, Africa Bambaataa, Alice in Chains, the B-52s, Bad Brains, Bad Company, Barry White, not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Beck, Big Star, Bjork, Black Flag, Blur. Blur doesn't really deserve to be in there. Brian Eno, come on, for his production alone. The Buzzcocks. I'm not going to read all of these. Captain Beefheart, Carole King. Carole King's not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. She's written more songs, performed more. I mean, for one album. I'd put her in the hall for one album. The Carpenters, Chic, The Commodores, Connie Francis, De La Soul, The Dead Kennedys, Def Leppard, Depeche Mode certainly needs to be in the conversation, and they're not. That's disgusting. Dick Dale, The Doobie Brothers, Duran Duran, ELP, Eric B. and Rakim certainly need to be in there. Eurythmics, Faith No More, The Flaming Lips, George Michael, Graham Parsons, The Guess Who, Harry Nilsson. That's a big one. I heard a lot of Harry Nilsson yesterday after we talked about this. In Excess, The Jam, Jan and Dean, in that founder category, I guess. Jane's Addiction, Jeff Buckley, we talked about Jesus and the Mary Chain, Jethro Tull, Jim Croce, Joy Division, Judas Priest, Kate Bush, King Crimson, Love, Mariah Carey, The Marvelettes, Mary Wells, Massive Attack, MC5, Megadeth, The Monkees, not in the nomination conversation, Motley Crue, Motorhead, New Order, The New York Dolls, Nick Cave, Nick Drake, Nine Inch Nails, The Offspring, Ozzy Osbourne, Pantera, Pat Benatar, Pavement, Peter, Paul and Mary, Pixies, PJ Harvey, Procol Harum, The Replacements, The Roots, The Runaways, Scott Walker, Slayer, Smashing Pumpkins, The Smiths, Snoop Dogg. The Smiths have to go in just so we can see what's his name, cancel the whole thing. Just don't want to see Morrissey and what he does off of that one. Sonic Youth, Soundgarden, The Specials, The Spinners, Steppenwolf, Stone Temple Pilots, T-Rex. I mean, I can keep going. We only got a couple more. Television, Thin Lizzy, Three Dog Night, Tommy James and the Shondells, Tool, Toots and the Maytals, Tori Amos, Warren Zevon, Weird Al Yankovic, Whitney Houston, Wu-Tang, X, and XTC. That's a lot of people. I'm not saying everybody needs to get in, but I think the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, this whole 5 or 6 artists a year thing, that's got to get expanded a little bit. A little bit. The problem is they faced a production nightmare because they let everybody talk at these acceptance speeches, which obviously everybody should be able to. And it's a 4-hour night as it is with just 5 artists going in. You know, and then they do the remembrance thing, and then there's always a tribute, and so for the night itself, it's hard to do. But if you deserve to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you shouldn't have to worry about how they do it. There's a lot of bands in here and a lot of groups that absolutely deserve to be in. Brian Eno, I mean, come on. Carole King, Dave Matthews Band, like, these guys just deserve to be in. I'm sorry. It's just crazy. It's crazy to me. Def Leppard. Oh, my goodness. Dave Matthews Band, not in consideration in their first year, and Radiohead does get the consideration in the first year. Is that backwards or what? Your thoughts, let me know in the comments.